Good day. Good day and welcome to Mental Health and You. I'm your host, Cynthia Timms. Thank you for joining us for another great experience in mental wellness, particularly in our community, the community of mankind and womankind. This show, speaking of such, of community, the community of film. You know, I was sharing with my guests, growing up, I didn't see many images of people who look like me in a positive light. So my guest today, so that's why I'm so happy to have my guest today, the Bronx Filmmakers Collective. We're going to be sharing. We're going to be sharing what you're doing, why you're doing, how long you've been doing it, and who you're hoping to reach and what you're hoping to accomplish. So thank you so much for being part of Mental Health and You. I'll let you introduce yourself. Josafat
Conception.
Hannah
Leshaw.
And Harry Santiago.
Yes, you are the program director, Joseph.
I am the program director at the Bronx Filmmaker Collective.
You are a founder.
Yes, and a board member.
And a board member. You are a board member, and you're all are filmmakers, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Right. It's filmmakers and writers and creative types.
Yes.
You know, as I said before, I tried to articulate in this introduction. This show sort of feeds my movie nerd, the movie nerd in me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, back in the day when I was feeling lonely, when I was feeling a little down, I didn't want to go out, I would watch a movie. But oftentimes, those movies didn't have anyone that looked like me in it. Mm-hmm. So I was over the moon as a child when my mother introduced me to Juliet with Diane Carroll. Because for the first time in a long time, and she made a point of showing me, you know, it was a TV show. Mm-hmm. She made a point of letting me know this was a black woman who looked like me. She was a nurse, she was a professional, you know, and she was proud.
Mm. Yes.
Now all these many years later, the Bronx Filmmakers Collective, established in 2012.
That's right.
Yes. What was the purpose of it, Hannah? Since you're one of the founders,
Yeah.
what drove you to want to do this?
Necessity. I was actually in post-production on a film, and I was stuck and really needed input from other filmmakers, and there wasn't that existing community to turn to in the Bronx. There was in other places, but I didn't want to leave home to do that. So we started an informal group, getting together weekly at that point, to sort of trade ideas and look at each other's work and give suggestions and help us grow as filmmakers.
And where was this group? It was in somebody's living room, somebody's storefront, somebody's backyard?
It was at the Bronx Documentary Center, actually,
Okay.
because Mike Camber was very welcoming and open to us, and he just gave me a key to the studio and was like, you can meet whenever you want. So they really nurtured us. And now we've actually transitioned out of using their space into our own studio space in the Melrose section of the Bronx. And so now we have our own space to hold our own meetings and have our own public screenings and workshops. So we have a whole variety of programming that happens right there now in our new studio space.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. It's so much needed. We need to tell our stories our way. Mm-hmm. You know, I call this episode, I think, Telling Our Stories Our Way.
That is part of our mission
Yes.
statement, is to encourage more nuanced storytelling,
Yes.
because we do have crime here. So a story could involve crime, but we have a lot of other things.
Yes.
And we want to see sort of the full scope of the stories from the Bronx. And we think Bronx filmmakers are in the best position to do that. So we actually not only want to encourage existing filmmakers, but we want to bring new folks in. And Harry is actually a great example of this, because Harry took a screenwriting class that I was teaching at Bronxnet, and it was a great script, really, one of the best scripts in the class. And
Did Harry tell you to say that? Or was
No, he did not tell me to say that.
I'll pay you that, thank you.
And then he became a filmmaker. He wanted to make and he started, and now he's won awards with his films, and he's fully realized his goals.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Harry, thank you for being part of this great experience, mental health in you. What made you reach out? Yes, you're a writer, but there's a
Yeah,
lot of writers in this world,
Yeah.
and a lot of us put our work, in a drawer someplace. A lot of us are too shy. A lot of us are self,
Yeah.
just so self-conscious. What was that drive, Harry, that made you say, and how long ago was this?
This was.
It was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
at least 2018.
Yeah, probably about
It's
that.
almost like we're breaking up the world now.
I know, it is,
PC and
isn't it?
AC.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, pre-COVID. Okay,
So,
go
yeah,
ahead.
Pre-COVID, and like you said, yeah, I had a lot of writing. I've got tons
Yeah.
of just journals and notebooks all over the house. And I was actually I've always been into filmmaking and television. I dabbled a little with friends, working on school projects, things like that. I actually did come to Bronxnet to do like the field production classes.
Okay.
And then when I saw that they had the screenwriting classes, I wanted to, put those two worlds together, get my writing together so that I can make my own films, tell my own stories. So it was a fun class. I learned a lot. And I teach some of the things that Hannah taught me to people,
Okay.
like my kids.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what
That's
drew
wonderful.
me in.
And Harry mentioned the Bronxnet field production classes. We've actually all taken these
Yes.
classes.
Yeah.
They really are a great introductory
Absolutely.
opportunity for
I'm
people.
also a graduate of that
Yeah.
class besides the studio production. Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Now we turn to you, Ms. Joseph, from the Canary Islands.
Yes.
That's not anywhere near the Bronx. So what's up with this? How did you come into?
Well, it's not near the Bronx, but I found that we have a lot of things in common. And the type of communities and the type of living that we have is quite common. And
Quite
I
common
can-
to what? The Canary Islands?
yes,
How so?
there's
By the way, for those, where is the Canary Island?
Canary Island is a little archipelago in the northwest of Africa. It's next to the coast of Western Sahara,
Okay.
north of Mauritania. We are a colony of Spain. So if you Google it, it's going to appear that it's part of Spain. But we have something like Puerto Rico has with the United States. So, but very different country. I came to New York long time ago to study. I was a filmmaker back in my country, and I was working. But if you love film, New York is a place where you want to experience. And I came here only for a semester to study, and it's going to be 13 years next week.
Wow.
And I fell in love with the Bronx. I've been living here for 12 years now, and yeah, I found that the life in the streets, the sense of community, maybe this sort of sense of abandonment from the mainstream culture world is something that we share.
Right.
And there's a lot of Boricuas and Dominicanos around, so even if English wasn't my first language, yeah, I always felt very welcome in the Bronx speaking Spanish.
Okay. So since 2012, who has been coming? Anyone can answer. Who's attracted to the Bronx Filmmakers Collective now? It's young kids, women, men.
There's no demographic that you'll find that's uniform. The one sort of unifying theme is that they tend to be newer filmmakers that are sort of
Okay.
more emerging.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the Bronx is still a place that when you make it as a filmmaker, you leave. And so we don't have the big time directors that have come from the Bronx. They're no longer here. We hope that changes. We hope that shifts over time. But so we have seniors, we've got middle-aged people, we've got people who are just barely out of high school. We have all ethnicities, all experience sort of in different artistic mediums. Some people come to us through photography because they started with still photography. Other people are sculptors, and they sort of want to expand their practice. So we really do draw from a very broad selection
What type of
people.
courses are you offering? What type of workshops?
We have a good, well, I mean, I'll let Joseph speak to that, but we have a great variety of, for different age groups, for children, seniors, or just anyone in general. But Joseph, as our program director,
Okay, who's the program director, Mr. Joseph?
So we have many type of classes and workshops. The one that is we are currently holding, and it's been there for longer, is the Junior Script Lab.
Okay.
That I really have very close to my heart, because it's a class for teens, screenwriting class for teens, and it's a very hands-on. They come in from the first day. They are creating stories. We do it. We have a very classic approach. They learn the very basic classic storytelling structure. What I think is very important for them, not only to write the stories and tell the stories, but I understand and develop critical thinking. That is something that we really need. And then they continue, and then we let them go more experimental. And by the end of the program, each one of the students have a full script for a short film. And we organize a table read. We bring professional actors to read their work. And that's such a beautiful day, seeing their faces while actors are bringing to life their stories, and their families and friends are there to see it. It's so satisfying. That's one of my favorite programs. But then we have many others. We have a class called Lavender Lab, Lavender Film Lab, that we do in collaboration with other organizations like Destination Tomorrow, the LGBTQ Center in the South Bronx. And it's a class on a workshop on experimental filmmaking for senior LGBTQ AI plus citizens of the Bronx, and that is wonderful. It's 4 different projects in different formats, and we do one with a still photography, another one in Super 8, another one in VHS, and another one on digital filmmaking. They create their own project, and it is wonderful. We have people doing stop motion, very personal film diaries. It's so fun. And
Talk about the Bronx River.
Oh, the Bronx River.
right.
It makes you cough.
sorry.
You're so excited. You see, Hannah's just getting like, she's just choking like of excitement. Yo, this is what filmmaking, this is what writing does to you. Okay.
Well, and we're going to talk about the spring program, so
Yes.
it makes sense having a little allergy. So this is the
There
one.
you go. We're appropriate.
We have this beautiful program called the Bronx River Film Diaries that is launching soon, so people can join right now. It's completely free. Everybody's invited. You don't need any type of experience, but if you're an experienced filmmaker, you're also welcome.
Okay.
We're doing it in collaboration with the Bronx River Art Center and with the Bronx River Alliance. And it's a little workshop on film diaries that is a very is a type of experimental documentary filmmaking where the filmmaker will tell their stories on how they experience the world with very little manipulation.
First of all, where can they get in touch with you guys? Is there a website? Is
Yes. The BronxFilmmakers.org, tbxf.org.
Okay.
And then if they go, we are on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay.
But if you go to our website, you're going to find there's places where you can sign up for the newsletter and get informed of all the things that we do and for these classes. And this one particularly, we are very excited to bring people because it's going to be one day. We're going to show a little bit about how these film diaries are made. We will see some of the classic ones by filmmakers like Jonas Mekas, who's a wonderful filmmaker that did most of his work in New York. And we'll learn a little bit about the Bronx River and the state and how the organizations are cleaning it and making it safe for all of us. And then in a week, we will have an exhibition with all the work that people have made during that week. We'll have a beautiful public screening, and that will be a screening for a month at the Bronx River Art Center in Westchester Square. Oh, no, sorry, in West Farm Square.
You know, back in the day, I used to be a volunteer at the Bronx River Alliance.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, I think that is one of the hidden gems of the
It
Bronx.
is.
The
It's
Bronx
such a
River
wonderful
period.
organization.
And it goes back to telling our stories. You know, you said something interesting, Hannah, that you said something about there's filmmakers in the Bronx, but when they get to a certain place, they leave.
That's right.
And, you know, I thought about that. I think that's a little sad.
It is.
Because there's so many places in the Bronx. There's so many buildings. There's so many, places that can house filmmaking. I'm thinking about where we're at right now on the campus of Lehman, but down the street, you got this big old armory.
Oh, the Armory.
You know, you got this big old armory. There's other places in the, you know, I'm just going to put it out into the universe. I picture like a big sound stage in the armory.
Yeah.
And,
be
you know,
I don't think that's the plan.
oh, but yeah, but we're gonna make it the plan. That's why we're talking about this. I'm thinking about when I used to, as a kid, up and down 3rd Avenue, me and my mother used to go on the bus towards 3rd Avenue. That big, beautiful courthouse. That's just,
Oh my goodness.
That's
Yeah.
just sitting there
That
vacant.
is a fantasy of Joseph and
Right,
Art.
right,
We
right,
often daydream.
right near the Bronx Music Hall, right behind
Yeah.
the Bronx News.
Yes.
It's-
Stunning.
Isn't it stunning? And it's
Stunning.
just sitting there, y'all.
Yeah.
Yes, we have
Yes.
big plans for that building. If only we could afford it.
There you go. If only we could afford it. Oh my God, no truer words have ever been said, Hannah.
It's a pity because these are things that it's not us, it's the Bronx that deserve to have these spaces in public use.
I'm thinking about Ferry Point. I'm thinking about where they're trying to put a casino now. I'm thinking about, my God, what a beautiful spot to put
Yeah.
a soundstage, just to have, just for filming, for the Bronx Film Festival
Yeah.
at Ferry Point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, also, not too many maybe know, but you got those 2 vacant islands right there in the East River or the North,
North Brother
North
Island,
Brother
South
and the
Brother
South Brother Island.
Those are where the cemetery is.
No,
No.
that's Potter's Field. We can talk about that.
Okay.
That's in the Long Island Sound.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
North Brother
but
Island has
North Brother Island back in the day. It's basically it's a bird sanctuary, but it used to be. If you take the New York City ferry from 92nd Street or from Soundview down, you're going to pass these islands, which are part of the Bronx,
Yeah.
and they're just sitting there. They used to house hospitals. They used to house, they used to house like some city agencies, some schools. But these, I just use these as an example of the treasures of the Bronx.
Yeah.
You know that show on PBS, you know, Treasures of New York? When you just think about Potter's Field, AKA Hart's Island. You know, that's just sitting there. That should, in my mind, that should be a park. That should be, it's so many possibilities for Bronx filmmakers, for us to tell our stories.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting to.
No, exactly. Those
You
2
know?
islands could be like the way Governor's Island is, you know. Down
Yes.
And the Bronx has so many wonderful locations. And when the Bronx is depicted in movies or TV shows, is someone that came to buy drugs or get a gun or something like that. And it's always this very dilapidated urban spaces, many times not shot even in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we have most of my movies, they happen in unrealistic spaces in other worlds. But I shoot them all in the Bronx, and I go to Orchard Beach or go to Van Cortlandt Park. I go to the
One of my
incredible
favorite
natural
spots.
spaces that we have anywhere around the Bronx River. And I can create my fantasy worlds there. And many other filmmakers do it too. And many other wonderful film organizations in the Bronx also are advocating for having spaces. We actually presented a project for the Armory that you were naming. I know other film organizations did too. Yeah, apparently that's not the plan that the city is going to go for,
But we're still putting it out there, right?
Yes.
Yes.
It's still, these are just ideas I just can't help putting into the universe because these are just spots sitting there waiting to come alive again. As I said, when I used to pass that building as a child on 3rd Avenue, it was an actual working courthouse. That's back in the day. I'm telling on myself, but it was an actual working courthouse before they all moved to 161st Street. So I remember that. And now all these years it's just sitting there. I know every once in a while they may have something there.
Right.
But I just don't want it to become something for a developer, Yes, we need low cost housing, we need housing, this and that, but we also need the arts.
Yeah.
It's the arts that fill our soul. That's why filmmakers and writers, we're so important, we're so necessary. And in the wake of what's going on in this country, the attack on the arts, we're needed more than ever.
Yes.
I don't know if I shared, but I'm a peer support specialist during the day. When I'm not doing this show, I'm a peer support specialist when I'm doing this show. That's one who talks about from a peer perspective about mental wellness, and what does it mean? What does it look like? Filmmaking. When I talk about filmmaking a lot with my clients who I see, my patients who I see on a regular basis. I talk about writing. And for me, when I write, I feel better. It's medicine. When I watch a beautiful movie, I feel better, particularly when I see myself in it, when it uplifts me. And what you're doing, guys, is wonderful. Continue doing it. And now we're going to take a break, I'm told. But when on the other end, we're going to talk about more, dive more into it and how people can reach out to you and just keep it rolling.
Okay.
We're going to take a break. This is Mental Health and You. I'm your host, Cynthia Timms. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to come back on the other side and wrap up.
We're going to start the show right now. This is my favorite part. Ready in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey, this is Angel, and I am one of the instructors for the in-studio production. Here at Bronxnet, we offer classes that can help you elevate, expand, and start your television career. All you have to do is sign up at bronxnet.org/education. For the past 7 years, I have been in various productions, spanning from talk shows, independent films, news reports, art displays, teachings, musical performances, and many more. Ain't that right, Angel? Yeah, you're absolutely right, Angel. There are a lot of creative individuals that we're just waiting to sign up for the class. And if I may, can I also express thank you, Angel. That's all the time we have left. Visit bronxnet.org/education and become a producer by taking the course. The class I offer is also in English, en español y también bilingüe. Nos vemos en la próxima clase.
Well, welcome back, y'all. Welcome back to Mental Health and You. I'm your host, Cynthia Timms. We're having this conversation today, telling our stories our way with the Bronx Filmmakers Collective. Josafat Conception.
Yes.
Hannah
Leshaw.
Cappytann. Let me do you justice. No, you're more than a nickname. Harry Santiago, filmmakers, writers, creative, all part of the Bronx Filmmakers Collective. The reason why I want to do this show, because as I tried to articulate in my introduction, I talked about how filmmaking has always been important in my life. How writing, how it was so important seeing someone who looked like me on the film, in films. I'm a film nerd going way back, y'all. I will always be. So what you're doing some wonderful work. You're doing necessary work. What do you say to that somebody who may, they may want to write, they have been writing, but they're a little shy. I remember back in the day when I went to it was enough for me to go to the New Rican Poets Cafe. you know, and just get on the stage.
Yeah.
Even though I had been doing things in the past, but just to take that next move, what would you say to that shy little girl, that shy little boy who's looking at TV, you know, looking at PBS, looking at Bronxnet, looking at TCM, whatever it may be, and they may be writing and dabbling something, but they're not sure. Hannah, what would you say to that
Well,
person?
first, it's not just children. I mean, that
yes.
fear of showing work, that does not
Yes.
leave you. I mean, I have that fear.
Okay.
It's a constant vulnerability to put your work out there for people to criticize and pull apart. That doesn't go away. You just sort of work through it. So I would first let them know that they are not alone in that, that is a real issue that we all struggle with. But I would say that coming to an organization like the Bronx Filmmakers for a class or for a workshop or perhaps to join is the way that they can sort of get the supportive atmosphere that will enable them to take those steps, because we are a friendly group.
Well, you look friendly here. I don't know what y'all may be fighting later. But
I mean, because we know how hard it is to show work, you know, and so we try to support each other, while still, certainly when I give something to Joseph and Harry to look at, I do want their honest feedback, because I am trying to improve my craft, but they also do it in a way that is not tearing me down, so that I really can move forward.
that's important. What has it meant to you, Harry? In 15 seconds or less.
I think I think the same thing that that we've all heard before. It's we get to tell our story. It may be similar to others, but it's from our point of view, and it helps us emotionally. We can deal with grief,
Yes.
loss, love, things like that
It
through
tells
our
the
film.
story of our lives in all its fullness,
Exactly.
its beauty and its pain.
Right.
What about you, Joseph? What has it meant to you?
For me, it's my therapy. I create art to stay sane. And also I consume art to stay sane. As you were saying before, how important it is for health. What were all we doing during the pandemic when we couldn't go outside?
Yes.
We turn into art, we read books, we watch movies, we listen music.
Yes.
Art is very important for us.
Art is very important. I mean, I couldn't even think of any better way to conclude this show. The art is important. Filmmaking is important. Being able to tell our stories our way, yours, is important. I want to thank my guests again for being a part of this wonderful, ever-evolving experience of mental health in youth, filmmaking, telling our stories our way. I also want to thank Bronxnet and its staff for having patience and giving us this platform to tell our stories. Thank you so much. Now go tell your story, because you got one to tell. Be that as it may, God bless and stay woke.